Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Samri.
And welcome to the
Lines Between the Stars podcast.
All right.
So we're nearing the end of the first month of the new year.
Yeah. Have any of you already quit your New Year's resolution? Feel free to leave a comment down below. Tell us your abandoned New Year's resolution.
My New Year's resolution or goal is to focus more on coding.
Okay, and I'd say you've been doing a pretty good job with that.
Yeah, with focus and
stuff like
dedication and sacrifice.
You deleted Clubhouse off your phone.
Yeah.
Like that's impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah, you were like,
I was like, oh, damn.
You're like, oh, okay, she's serious.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, and I deleted YouTube off of my main phone.
Yeah.
Cause I kept my old phone.
Yeah, just for like browsing internet purposes and stuff.
Browsing
like that.
And like I have other apps I don't want to lose.
Yeah.
Like Candy Crush.
Huh.
You said I can save it, but
you're too lazy. You don't want to like go through the work of like transferring your save data.
I don't trust myself.
Okay.
I don't want to lose all my hard work. You know how many years I worked on my level?
No, I get it. I play phone games too. I know what it's like.
Yeah, cause I've been playing on Candy Crush for at least 6 years.
Yeah, I get it. I play phone games. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
I know like the thing of like you like do the grind, and then you're like...
Some levels I had to try multiple times.
Yeah, I get it.
I remember being in the bus and like...
Yep.
Okay.
But, yeah, serious on your... super serial on your...
Algorithm practice and coding and...
Yeah. My New Year's resolution was to... start uploading a webcomic, which I have. I have started the upload.
Yay!
Yeah, and since this is our podcast, I'm gonna show my stuff. So you go to Webtoons.
You can download the app on your phone.
You can download the app on your phone, or you can just go open it up on your browser. If you search, the series is called Rainbow Heart.
What's the website?
On webtoons.com. Webtoons.com, the popular webcomic website. And yeah, you can start reading my comic there for free. It's
Rainbow Heart.
Yeah, it's about a I don't know if you know the magical girl genre. It's usually like the premise is usually like a girl with like superpowers and fight against evil, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
It's very much like kind of like based off of like a kids anime thing. You know?
I started reading this like similar to that.
Yeah.
I forgot Princess something.
Yeah.
But it was weird because like the way they drew the legs, it was like super long.
Yeah.
And then their torso is super short.
I think it might be Sailor Moon. That might be Sailor Moon.
No,
but it sounds based. Or either that or they based it off of Sailor Moon.
Oh, okay. So Sailor Moon was the initial.
Yeah, it's one of the initial ones.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of other series too, but this one is kind of like my main character Pinkheart is actually a 4-year-old father of one who ends up being in a position where he turns into a little it's like a superhero identity for those of you who don't know. So when he fights evil, he ends up turning into a little girl.
Oh, okay.
And he fights evil, and also his daughter is like his number one fan.
Oh, so she doesn't know though.
She doesn't know though. But he's like, I have to be a good role model for my daughter.
Oh, okay.
You know, as like the local superhero and as a dad. You know.
How old is the daughter?
The daughter, I think probably I haven't really like nailed down the age right now, but I'm thinking like 5 through 7 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and Joe, the main character, is like 40 years old.
Okay.
So yeah, it's funny because there are parts where like he's going through some changes in his life too.
Oh, okay.
He's quit smoking. He's quit.
Okay.
He's trying to become a vegetarian.
Oh, okay.
For health reasons.
Uh.
And he's kind of like he kind of like he kind of dotes on his daughter a bit.
Okay.
A bit too.
Uh.
Because like he quit smoking because she said that he was too stinky.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so he's like, oh no, I gotta stop smoking. He wears a pink hat because his daughter bought him a pink hat saved up her allowance to
really?
buy a pink hat for him.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why he wears a pink hat, you know. He wears a pink hat. That was a question that actually appeared on one of the comments of like why he wears a pink hat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's because that's because his daughter got it for him for his birthday, and he's also self-conscious about his balding head.
Oh, okay.
So a little bit of both. Column A, column B.
Yeah. So you planned, or you've already drawn the story of how she got him the pink hat?
I haven't drawn it, but it's just kind of like a small detail. It's like a small.
Oh, okay.
It's like a bunch. I like having little small tiny details for characters.
Oh, okay.
You know, it makes them feel more alive. It makes them feel like, oh yeah, I can like, because like you hear stuff like that, and you're like, oh, this guy is a lot more, and this person is very endearing. You know, like it makes you endear to the character, because it's usually the small things that you like kind of gravitate towards as like a reader, right?
Yeah.
Like you know, like you have like the big thing, you know, the big movie stars, but like what makes the character likable, in my opinion, is like the smaller moment.
Their quirkiness.
Their quirks.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine like there's a bunch of characters where like, could you imagine eating lunch with them? You know. Right. You
wouldn't imagine the main.
Like for example.
Characters.
Yeah, well, some of them do. Some of them do. Like, you could imagine eating lunch with Spider-Man.
Oh, okay, yeah. People like.
Yeah.
That's why they have all that multiverse.
Yeah, that's why Spider-Man's like really, really popular, because he's the most like kind of like closer to like hometown.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Regular.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. Let's see, but yeah, that's where that has been doing, starting that out.
For webtoons, it's good to like each of the
each episode's. That's always a fun. It's like good metric. I've been like looking at my metrics or like looking at number go up.
Nice.
So it's been doing all right. It's going to be updated bi-weekly. I have like a bunch of episodes built up.
Okay.
Because it means I have a little bit more flexibility of like when to work on it. Right. Versus
Rushing,
you know, having to rush like like, you know, having only done one episode.
Yeah.
And then trying to get like meet like a deadline within 2 weeks. My deadline's a lot more further out because I like prepped it up ahead of time. And the best time to do a backlog is to like do it before you like start posting it. Yeah, because like sometimes like things get paced out different. Like, you know, things get paced out differently. But yeah, it is made it so that like I have I would say like I have less creative time. You know.
How so?
Because like time I am drawing, like, you know, because there's time I feel like I allocate towards drawing, but I have less freedom of like drawing exactly what I want. You know. Because sometimes it's like, oh, like I should be drawing the comic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sometimes I get the feels like, oh, I should be drawing a comic right now. Or if I have a commission, it's like it's either a commission or a comic drawing, right?
Oh, okay.
I can't just.
You've been adding more to your plate.
I've been adding a lot. I've been adding to my plate. So yeah. So sometimes it's like, oh, I should be working on the commission or the comic, and it's like, oh, I don't have time to like draw like other, you know, something else that comes into my head, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And when you stream for your VTubing?
Yeah, sometimes it's comic, sometimes it's whatever, but usually it's been like comic or commission recently.
Oh, but you would like to practice.
Yeah, I like to practice sometimes too. Though the comic is like a good way to improve because you like have to do things that you're not usually comfortable with. Because it forces you to draw like angles that you wouldn't normally usually do it if you were just only used to doing illustrations.
Yeah.
Like you have to draw more action stuff. You have to draw more like different angles unless you want to like just have everything at the same angle. But that's less appealing. Like to look at.
Yeah. And speaking of angles, you bought an iPad. What is it? iPad Pro?
Yeah, I bought an iPad Pro, and I feel like I have the most like first world excuse for buying that iPad. The reason why I got the iPad was because I wanted to do some drawing like outside of my office.
Yeah.
And like because like when we watch TV or watch shows, I'm usually there like doing nothing else, but I feel I feel like I should be drawing or something like that because I'm used to watching shows while drawing.
Okay.
You know,
you want to utilize the time.
Yeah, I want to utilize the time. I like utilizing the time. So
you can
like,
do multiple things at
yeah,
once.
I can with the TV. I mean, I can't watch like a subtitled show, for example, while like drawing.
Yeah.
It has to be. I have to actually watch it in English. Like if it's like an anime or something like that, that's the example because like a lot of anime gets released either with like an English dub or a Japanese dub. You can choose between the two. When I'm drawing, I usually just choose the English version.
So do they use English, like native English speakers? Do you know?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, okay.
They do.
Nice. They improved.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's like the sound director isn't a native English speaker, but the actors are. But the sound director is not a native English speaker, so they choose something that they think sounds cool. Like they'll choose a read that they think sounds cool rather than what makes sense. Even though the actor might be like, this doesn't make sense, and the sound director's like, no, it's cool.
Yeah, you have to do what they tell you.
Yeah, you have to do
especially
what they tell you.
Especially in Japan, the work culture is more like
and especially if they're the ones paying your like paycheck.
Yeah. I mean, of course. Yeah. But like in general, I feel in Japan you can't question your superiors.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's very much like hierarchical in terms of like seniority.
Yeah, it sounds like government kind of job.
Yeah, it's I mean, that's what you hear about like the Japanese workforce is that like there's a lot more like rules and hierarchy and stuff like that. There's like you have to go out drinking with your coworkers.
That's the only time you can bond with them.
Yeah, and that even like you have to prioritize that over going home to your family. Apparently, this is why like it's like stuff like this is why like there is a big like cheating culture in Japan. Apparently.
Oh really?
Yeah, because like they get married early, right? Like they get married in their like 20s and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So like you have like a bunch of women who are like in their like mid-20s, like you know like in their mid-20s with like alone at home because their husband like you know like their husbands are out like drinking with coworkers and stuff like that, and they're like bored and probably at like you know like peak horniness. You know. As like you know like as women, so like yeah, they're gonna be like okay, like and you hear apparently you hear stories of like a lot of women cheating.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So they don't have kids?
Well, sometimes they have kids, sometimes they do. You know. Who knows?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess they can still cheat.
Yeah, they can still cheat if they have kids.
So does.
Yeah, so it's a little interesting thing, but
I never thought about that.
Yeah. Let's see. But yeah. There's also like you're not allowed to like you know husband's not allowed to go home like you know go home. They have to or like they have to do the work. Like if you were to like just get your work done early.
Yeah.
they
You
would
have to
still
stay,
you
yeah.
still have to stay.
Yeah, until your boss leaves.
Yeah, until like you know, like you have to work long because they're like, oh, you have to be here, you know.
Saving face.
Yeah. They'd rather you work longer than actually get your work done faster. Right?
Yeah, there was an episode in Agretsuko
Yeah.
about like when oh gosh.
Uh, Haida.
Haida, he found a way, like he used the technology.
He uses like Excel macros to like make his work go faster.
Yeah.
But he just didn't tell anyone. He just like for a long. Well, he did try, but he just like kept it on the down low.
Yeah.
And just be like, you know, just made it so it's like, oh yeah, it worked about the same. You know, like we would turn it in like at the end of the day rather than earlier. Otherwise, they just give you more work.
That's true.
Like I get the feeling of that too. Like even in America, this happens too, where someone like has a macro to do their job.
Okay.
And then, but they don't tell anyone. But they like take the same amount of time, you know, as like they would like wait until like they would just wait until they get done, you know.
Yeah,
they just wait.
I guess it's better.
They wait until like it's like right amount of time to go, and they just kill time like in between. Because they know if they turn it in early, they're just gonna get more work.
Yeah, and they won't get promoted or whatever.
Yeah, it's not like they would get promoted.
Yeah,
it's not like they're gonna get promoted. So
it's
they're
not
just
incentivized.
Like, it's not really incentivized.
Yeah,
and they're like, okay, well, we're just gonna like just be the least stressed out as possible.
Makes sense. I won't blame them. To be honest,
I remember being the guy who did a good job. Like it's in like the work culture, I call it being punished for doing a good job. Right? Where you essentially have a reputation of getting the job done and then everything getting piled on you. Yeah.
Your coworkers also give you more work.
Yeah, your coworkers give you more work.
Yeah.
You become the problem solver. If there's like ever a problem, it gets assigned to you, so you get more difficult assignments. And then like you pretty much get like no reward out of it.
Okay.
Like you would think that like being the problem solver, like, oh, you got promoted or you got a big raise, right? I'm like, no, not really. You got like didn't really get that much of a raise.
Yeah.
You know?
Or it's not worth
it's not worth the amount of work. So
doing like two people's job or whatever.
Yeah. Like you do two people's job, or like, you know, they promote you in terms of like your responsibilities, but don't like give you the salary to like increase the pay. There are a lot of companies that do that. That's why like nowadays I just suggest like if you really want a pay raise, you have to just quit the whatever company you're working for and just find a new company and negotiate a higher salary. Yeah, you're the one who convinced me to leave my... Yeah, because like a lot of places don't nowadays a lot of places don't give worthwhile pay raises. You only get like a worthwhile pay raise if you like go to another job.
Job hopping?
Yeah, job hopping. Because if you're lucky, you get like, you know, like if you're lucky, you get a maybe like at most like 10% raise. You know? Which,
per year kind of thing?
Yeah, per year, which like isn't that much in the grand scheme of things, you know? Like you can go to like a different job and just get like, you know, a bigger increase. If you know like how to like interview and like how to negotiate, like gauge of like what you're worth. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, compare yourself to others and use Indeed or whatever.
But yeah, that's a thing. So that's, and also we're gonna segue into the next topic. It's like also learning how to communicate with others, you know? Being able to communicate your ideas and like communicating and like getting knowledge, because like you can just ask people, hey, how much do you make? You know? Yeah,
I feel like that's a taboo.
That is question. A little bit of a taboo, but it becomes more important to ask nowadays.
You feel nowadays people are more comfortable talking about how much they make?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I think you should try. I mean, like, I feel like you should try.
Or
If they're not comfortable with it, just say, like, oh, it's fine if you don't want to tell. But it doesn't hurt to ask.
give them the option.
Yeah.
There's an Excel sheet or like a Google Doc that people started, like tech workers.
Yeah.
Like write down your role, how much you make.
Yeah.
And then it's anonymous.
Okay.
So people don't feel like they have to like, endanger their or like
their
give
jobs.
up. Yeah. Because there are some contracts. It's written into your contract saying you can't disclose your income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know for a while I was actually being like underpaid for my job.
And you found out?
Yeah, I found out.
How did you find out?
I was just like, someone asked me, and I just told them like, dang, you're getting like ripped off.
Really?
Yeah.
And they were doing the same job and getting paid more?
Yeah, pretty much. It was just mostly because I was doing it through a contracting agency, and they weren't.
Oh,
so
okay.
they're like, yeah, like your contract agency is like ripping you off.
Oh. Did you get a different contract agency?
No, not yet, because I was like still working,
Oh.
I was trying to get hired full time, that sort of thing. Hoping that they'd hire me full time, but
because you're working hard.
Because I'm working hard. That's like naive. That's being naive and cute. But yeah, like that's why I say just be a mercenary. Be a mercenary. You're better off. You'll be happier.
Don't be loyal to.
You'll be less stressed out.
Yeah.
Because stress is a killer. Stress will actually kill you.
Yeah. It'll make you sick.
Yep, you'll get sick. You'll not
think of all the medical bills and.
Yeah, you won't spend time with yourself. Maybe get less sleep.
Yeah.
A lot of other things, And so your mental well-being important.
Yeah. Speaking of sleep.
Yeah, speaking of sleep. Let's see. We have a funny story. So, recently, you've been snoring a bit.
It's not snoring. It's apparently from what you describe as like difficulty breathing.
Yeah. It was kind of more.
I don't know if it's different.
Yeah. It's just kind of like you kind of build up pressure in your mouth and you like exhale it all out at once.
Oh.
It's like, something like that.
Do I stop breathing for a while?
No, I feel like you're inhaling through your nose, and then you're just exhaling it all
through
out.
my mouth.
Yeah, you're inhaling through your nose and then exhaling through your mouth.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
In my brain, maybe there's a thing of like, you have to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth.
Yeah, and so when you're breathing through your mouth, like that makes a sound. Sometimes you do a, like.
Oh
no. So I'm just like, oh boy, I have and
the way I found out is because you took a nap for an hour and you told me and I'm like, what? In the middle of the day?
Yeah, in the middle of the day, because it was pretty bad because I didn't get to bed that night, because of the snoring. I didn't get to bed until 2 a.m.
Oh.
And so I woke up for work, got through half the day and got through my meetings, and then I just went to took a nap
You did a workout and I
did a workout and I just after that workout I was like, oh my god, I am really tired.
Oh.
So I was like, I need a nap. Because it was a hard workout too. So I was like, okay, I need a nap.
Yeah. It must have been a harder workout because you didn't get enough sleep.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, and then you were like, well, so what happened last night was...
You were snoring.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This whole time we've been dating for how many years now?
2 to 3 years.
3 years.
3
plus?
years. Yeah, 3 years plus.
And it's just now you're telling me.
Yeah.
So this whole time?
Not I mean, it's off and on. Sometimes,
Oh, okay.
sometimes I know. Like, here's the thing. It depends on whether or not I fall unconscious before you start snoring. It's like a race. It's like a race sometimes.
Wait, so I snore all the time.
Not that I know of. Maybe you do, maybe you don't.
You're also a very light sleeper.
Yeah.
Like, if there's any movement, you're like,
Yeah.
you wake up.
Yeah.
If there's light, any sort of light source, you can't go to sleep.
Yeah. So I'm very much like, and you're like a really heavy sleeper. So I'll like, because you've told me in the past, oh, like nudge me and tell me I'm like,
I was like, why don't you just like turn my head or whatever, or like, like turn, nudge me in a way where I'm like,
and that don't work. You're too unconscious.
Oh.
You're too unconscious sometimes, and like it doesn't do anything.
Oh, I don't wake up.
You don't wake up, or sometimes you'll move and it'll stop for like 30 seconds or a minute, and then you start again. I'm like, okay.
Oh god.
I've consulted the fact that I'm just gonna go to bed with noise canceling headphones on.
Oh my gosh, this is so cringy.
That's why like you've been seeing me with like headphones on, like when we go to bed, when like waking up, like I just have headphones on. I just put on the sound of rain or something like that.
Oh gosh.
Unfortunately, I'm able to sleep with headphones on. I know some people who like can't do that.
Yeah, it's not comfortable.
Yeah, I'm able to do that. It's fine. I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Cause when you told me that, I was like, shoot. Cause like I used to share a bedroom with my mom.
Yeah.
So like she never told me that I snored or make noises at night.
Yeah.
And actually,
does it like explain certain things sometimes?
She was probably tired, most of the days. Mm-hmm. But she doesn't tell me that like it's because of me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh no. Oh no.
And then one time, not with my mom, but like when I did study abroad.
Yeah.
So like you get hotel rooms where you share a bedroom.
Yeah.
With another woman, and so she had a guy sleep with her.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, so they were listening to me snoring.
Oh no.
While they were having sex. And they were like, they mentioned something and I was like, wait, what? Why were you there?
Yeah.
I think he left like...
Okay.
And then I guess I like...
brushed it off to the side and you just only recently recovered it from your that memory from your subconscious now.
I connected it to like, oh, that I must have been pretty like noisy sleeper.
Yeah.
If it bothered them. I guess they wanted silence.
Yeah. It
is weird though. Why would they? Because the bed is like right next to mine.
Yeah, but they want to have this sneaky sex because it turns.
Oh, I guess it's sweeter that way.
Yeah, it's like the danger. The danger turned them on, but then like the snoring was like.
They're like, oh my gosh.
They're like, oh shit, okay. Boner gone.
I guess I was to blame then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've scheduled a doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
Right after you told me, I'm like, okay, let me do this.
Yeah, let me do this. Yeah.
Because I actually don't have a primary physician.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay.
I feel like I've snored on occasion. But
yeah, but like you stop if I nudge you.
Yeah.
Then it stops.
Yeah.
It's like a position.
Yeah, it's usually like positional. It's usually for me, it's like a positional thing. If my head is like, I think it's usually if my head's leaning back or something like that. My neck's too like far back, then I like snore. But then if it's like not, then I usually don't snore. Sometimes I do. It's like usually it's occasionally thing.
So basically, I'll have to wait for you to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
for me to fall asleep.
Yeah. Well, I will say that my headphones are really good. like my headphones are really good, and then I usually put on white noise because they're noise cancel. My headphones are noise canceling, and then I put on like a so when noise canceling, how that works is that it applies a noise filter over the headphones, like white noise. So it's like a different frequency that blocks out other frequencies.
Interesting.
And then I'm adding the sound of rain on top of it, which is another white noise sound effect. So I have like I essentially have like two shields blocking noise from anything else. Now the downside of this is that I don't hear anything. Like I'll have the headphones on, you're talking to me, I don't hear you.
Oh, okay.
I hear like a like maybe like I'll hear like a muffled sound.
Okay.
But like I can't hear you unless I like open up an ear.
Yeah. You usually leave an ear open.
Yeah, when I'm like working or something like that, I'll leave an ear open just in case like there's like I don't know.
If there's a break-in.
If there's a break-in.
Then I'm fast asleep.
Yeah.
And you're.
Oh, I mean, like, when I'm asleep. I'm leaving those on, but like.
Then we're done. Then.
We're donezo. We're donezo.
Because of my snoring.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. us. Yeah, but it's kind of like one of those things where it's just like I personally feel that a lot of problems in a relationship can be fixed by just talk.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, I mean, like, here's the thing. Just talking might result in a breakup.
But, you fear that?
I mean, I think that will be the case. Like, I feel like that actually will be the case. Like, I'm pretty sure that, like, there's a likelihood that, like, people just talk, then they'll break up.
They decide,
this like, work. Yeah, this won't work. Okay. But I think that's better, than just like keeping it inside, right? And the sooner you talk, the sooner like you rip off like an uncomfortable Band-Aid.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, because it just builds up until it explodes in a weird way.
Yeah, right. Like it builds up, and then, you definitely like try to like.
The other person doesn't know.
Yeah, the other person doesn't know, but you're angry and you're like holding it in, and then like that affects other small things,
Yeah.
Like another thing that I've also read too, like like when you're raising kids, is that like you fight with your significant other more because of like that irritation.
Because the kids.
Yeah, kind of because of the kids. Like you're not mad at the kids, but then you don't want to get mad at the kids because they're kids, right?
So you get angry at your partner?
Yeah, you get angry at your partner, and it's usually like over like kind of more insignificant things,
Oh, so it's like you're deflecting, or not deflecting. It's like you're ignoring that the kids are annoying you.
Yeah.
So you just take it out on some other adult
that can handle a unprovoked like aggression, right? Because if you like be like did unprovoked aggression towards a child, that's a little bit effed up, like that's considered a little bit effed up. I mean, you could be the type of person who just yells at their kid, unprovoked. But then that doesn't lead to a really good relationship either,
Yeah. So you think that's why people with kids don't last?
Yeah. I mean, I've read, that's what I've at least read on an internet comment. That's like an internet comment, but I was like, oh, I remember that comment. It makes sense. Because
I feel, a kid is like a different human being, and you have to adjust yourselves because you've already created this
it's kind of like I've heard that it's like raising a kid is like the hardest thing in the world, but like really rewarding in the end. But it is like people like usually like gloss over the fact that it's also a really hard thing to do raising a kid,
I feel maybe it's like the dopamines you get from the kids kind of numb you to the bad things.
Yeah.
Really bad, dark.
We're not being
times.
like anti-kid, but we are like, we are.
Yeah,
like,
you have to be honest with that,
Yeah.
Yeah, and also something about like why you have kids, you're just focused on them instead of your relationship.
Yeah, you have a lot less time on you and each other and just relaxing.
Less energy, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't do like, I had to like drop a lot of, I will probably have to drop a lot of things if I wanted to like have kids. Mm-hmm. I'd have to drop a lot of things in my life.
Yeah.
You know, like out of my schedule and stuff like that.
Yeah, kids are very attention, what is it? Black hole of attention.
Yeah, black hole of attention. Yeah, that's true.
They need more and more.
Yeah, and there's like also less time to relax too.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I have two, they're interns. Mm-hmm. One apprentice mate, another intern from a different program at my job, and they're both software engineers, and they both have toddlers.
Yeah.
One of them, I think I told you. She gave birth like a day or two after we were all done with the boot camp.
Yeah.
And the whole time I didn't know she was pregnant.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, she was like super like good with coding and stuff.
Oh, that's good.
And she was always active in like
discussions.
Yeah, discussions, projects. Like she's always top notch. Mm-hmm. It might also be because she's from China.
Oh yeah.
Shanghai or like Hong Kong, where like I'm sure she would have had to be like super top of the line to survive. So like when she moved to the US, I think she kept that drive.
Yeah. Okay.
So she already had one kid, and then she was pregnant with another.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, like that is a woman being like a super uber like badass. Yeah. But then like you don't have to be that. Like you don't have to be that, you know?
Yeah, you don't have to drive yourself to like.
Yeah, you don't have to compare yourself to other women and like aspire to be them, right? Mm-hmm. And like the guy equivalent, I don't have to aspire to be a like big, huge, giant, muscular man or something like that who can like bench press 3 of you. You know? Mm-hmm. You know?
Oh,
so like for women it's the same thing. You don't have to be like this super, you don't have to like aspire to be like this super mom who can like raise kids and do everything.
Yeah.
Like, do everything.
Enter a different career.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, she did practice algorithm before.
Yeah.
And she was telling me how she has like people online she does algo practice with all the time. I'm like, how do you get that time?
That's essentially like her. She's essentially made it her like hobby in her life, pretty much.
Yeah.
So like that is a thing.
It might be something that you have to do in order to transition into being a software engineer, though.
Yeah, you kind of have to. Yeah, in my opinion, like that is kind of like one of the things you have to do.
Yeah.
In order to like make yourself like stand out and like successful, because I think like you're going against people with like who have spent more time.
Yeah,
like,
who
training,
have gone to school for it
and stuff like that. So you are unfortunately competing with those people, and so like the only way you can like do like essentially catch up is just like more time on the more focus on the clock.
Yeah, I'm just glad that I don't have a kid.
Yeah,
or even a pet. Yeah. Remember when we were dog sitting?
Yeah.
And then I like okay, we dog sat for my cousin.
Yeah.
And I like lost my mind. I was
lost your mind.
You guys need to come and pick up this dog.
You weren't even the one taking care of the dog. I was.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
I just decided because like she or it kept barking at night.
Why'd you change it to it? Why'd you switch why'd you switch it from like living creature to object?
Cause I was triggered by that memory.
Yeah. That's the cancelable offense. People get really touchy about dogs. You know?
Really?
Yeah. People don't give a shit if a person dies in the movie, but if a dog dies, they like start sobbing.
What?
Yeah, they'll start sobbing like if the dog dies.
This
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not like that. I think it was because I was raised in a country that doesn't see pets as humans.
Yeah.
Because I feel in the West, it is weird. Like, they become part of your family and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it should be like that.
Yeah.
There should be levels, you know? They shouldn't be the same as your kids, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are people
different
who
values and stuff, right?
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see.
You're like, I don't know about that.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll say that. Like, I think well, let's see. You can have like empathy and compassion for like another living being, you know.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I am a pescatarian because of that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that I'll be like treating them like they're humans with feelings.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, they have feelings.
I don't know about that.
They got personalities. I mean, like,
it's philosophical at this point. Do they really have feelings? Do they have a soul, or do they go to doggy heaven when they die?
I mean, at least like the very least, like dogs have been able to communicate that they feel that they are happy, and like via research and studying.
Oh.
Like they had like this setup where like dogs could actually communicate like actual like like English words to people by using like a series of buttons.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they were able to communicate like basic feeling, like they were able to communicate emotions.
Oh.
Like
happiness,
stuff like that. So animals do feel emotions. And especially other things too, like emotions are based off of like our survival, right?
Yeah.
Like if we are
in danger,
like sadness and like anger is a sense of like responses to external trauma, and happiness is like positive reinforcements to continue said behavior. Right?
Yeah.
Like the reason why we have dopamine is because like it's just built in our biology to support certain things, right?
Maybe it's that animals have a less complex emotion.
Sometimes it's more complicated. Like some animals, I mean, it's a different degree because different animals have different brains, but it is like, it is a different sense. Like a dog's brain is going to be more complex than a flea's brain. Right? But a dog's brain is like more on line of like being a more complicated, like a more complicated things.
Yeah.
It's usually based off of like food chains because dogs also have a very social construct as well because, they're pack animals.
Yeah.
They're like pack animals.
Yeah.
So they have a sense of like and so with like a social animal, they have a sense of like needing like sense of emotions.
Yeah, because they have to relate with others.
To compete, to like relate with each other, stuff like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And you also told me the whole term of beta versus alpha.
Oh no, that's like based off of a flawed research, flawed research based off of wolves in captivity.
Oh, okay.
Because like wild wolves do not act like with the whole like alpha and beta sort of thing.
They're more communal?
They're more communal, yeah.
Okay.
They're more communal, but like in captivity, they go into like, it's like being in prison.
Oh, okay. Needs to be, yeah.
Yeah, in prisons, you're going to have like the more aggressive and more stronger persons win out in the end because a prison is like enforces that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when people use alphas and betas and like unironically in terms of like describing like people like, oh, you have an alpha personality versus the beta personality, you're basing that off of pretty much like bullshit science. Yeah,
because at least in the sector that I follow on YouTube, they talk about alpha males and beta males.
And sigma males. That's like the funniest thing to me. Like, it just can't. Sigma males. It's like, it's usually based off people who are like, well, I don't fall in the line of like being a like extroverted type, but I'm still toxic to the point where I need a different label than beta.
Oh.
You know. Yeah.
So that's
Yep. So that is a thing about that. But yeah, like.
And we also talked about how.
Oh yeah, we had like a little like talk about like moving, and I think. Like, I had a discussion with my friend group with, like, a couple friends of mine. We were talking about, like, house prices, how they're increasing. One guy's like, oh, why don't we just move to Idaho? And, you know, like, he was white. And I was like, dude, I am an Asian guy married to a black woman. There's no effing way that I can go to Idaho.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, you know, a thing. But for me, I was like, yeah, that's truthful, man. Like, yeah, like, you know, if you're a white, you can move anywhere. You could probably move anywhere.
That's
and
true.
be, like, fine with it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But, like, when you're, like,
you
not
have
white,
more space to move different places.
Yeah, and then if you're, like, not white, you kind of have to think about, like, okay, we can't go to a place that's too white, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Because,
too
like,
white or like conservative and white, that's a no.
Yeah, that's no. So because like the thing is like, I grew up as like a token Asian, you know. You know, being the token Asian, where like no one really kind of understood me, but like accepted me because I was the only one in the group that was Asian.
Yeah, they tolerated your presence.
Yeah. Or you get hear the things of like, oh, you're good for an like you become you're good for an Asian. You know, which is like annoying to deal with. Yeah.
That's because whenever we talk about like moving, and I was like, oh, why don't we move to this like city that's like mostly white and conservative? And you're like,
you crazy?
Because like I didn't realize until you told me that. You shared with me how you grew up, you know, being the token Asian guy.
Yeah.
And you didn't feel safe with, you know, like low income white kids.
Yeah.
Who,
Because like I would know, like talking to their parents, like they're like it's like Get Out. You know, like when you like you know the movie Get Out.
So their parents.
Well, it's not like they fed it. Like it was kind of like. It like Get Out like hits me because I feel that as like, you know, when you like, because as an Asian you're like, because you know how they were kind of fetishizing them to be like because they're black. That's what you get when you're Asian, where like you get like sense like, oh, I heard Asians are smart, you know. It's like
their parents.
Yeah, it's like the racism, but like the weirdly positive racism. It's like the weirdly positive racism.
That's a weird thing for an adult to say to a kid, right?
Yeah, it's like,
so
you're so
weird.
polite. It's like, oh, you're so polite, you know, stuff like that, and it feels really weird.
Yeah.
Like I'm like it weirds me out. It weirds me out. Like, are you like saying that like I'm better than your kid? That's kind of you know. Like, that's
right?
a little effed.
Yeah.
And and it just keeps on going. Like you like talk to like it's like it was both from like, you know, other kids and the adults. It's just is like a difference. Is a different vibe. So like I've never been comfortable in a purely white, like if I'm like in an area and I'm like the only Asian among like a group of white people, it feels weird. Like I actually feel more comfortable in like a black only community than a white only community.
That's what you expressed to me when we
went
to New York.
When we went to New Jersey and we went like downtown supermarkets where there's like, you know, iron bars to stop you from like running off with the shopping carts. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's not bad. Alright, that makes sense. Yeah. The plexiglass of like people like where like people won't get like people who own the shop won't get shot. Like I felt more comfortable with that than I did with weird white neighborhoods. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm more comfortable with that. You know?
Yeah. I was thinking like when I was a teenager, I didn't have to,
Yeah,
or like I didn't feel the need to like have friends at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
I was okay with being alone actually.
Mm-hmm.
I was a pretty good loner.
Yeah, but yeah, like it was just kind of like a weird thing of like hanging out with mostly like white people, like mostly like white kids.
Yeah.
And then just like, yeah, I'm just like, it's just weird when like you talk to someone and there's just things that they don't get. And also just like growing up too, my parents were like, oh, like if you ever are from an Asian family, you gotta do this thing, but like don't like if it's like for a white family, yeah, you don't have to do that.
Wait, like
They won't
what?
care. Like showing respect. Like
Oh,
there's like
okay.
certain things like showing certain
They told you
levels of
it's okay
respect.
to not show respect.
Yeah, it's just like they're like
Oh.
the things are like you have to, whereas like you have to be super respectful. They're like, oh, you don't have to do it to a white family because they won't care as much.
That's true. If
Yeah,
it's not valued, why?
because like
Yeah.
pretty much like all of my white friends like failed my parents' litmus test, like the respect test for my parents. They all failed. They all failed to gather my parents' respect. But they're like they just tolerated my my parents just tolerated my friends rather than like actually like be like like things. They were merely tolerated.
If you had Asian friends, they would have judged them on a different scale, though.
Oh yeah, they would have been judged on a different scale. I think
Yeah.
if I had Asian friends, they'd be judged harder.
Ah,
They'd be judged even harder.
interesting. Because I was also asking you, like, you didn't have Asian friends.
Yeah,
Maybe it was because you didn't want them to be judged.
maybe.
Yeah, I was like, I guess I'm psychoanalyzing you at this point.
Yeah, you are. 100%.
I mean, like, I didn't have black friends. So
I also
can't-
didn't
I
want to be
can't judge
judged.
you.
I also didn't want to be judged
Oh,
by,
by other Asian
Asian
parents.
parents. You know,
Yeah.
hate like that's like the worst. Like I already deal with one pair of Asian parents. I don't want to deal with the second pair of Asian parents. That's why like I dated out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, man, I have like hard time dealing with enough like with the judging of my parent of like
Yeah.
the Asian of like one pair of Asian parents,
The
and then like
pressures.
yeah, and then like here's the thing with like Asians dating out, like a lot of us are like, oh, we'll meet the parents of like of another ethnicity and be treated really well.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we essentially have the lessons we've taught as like as children,
You have good
and we
training.
still apply them, and then they're like, oh wow, you're so polite, you're so it's like yeah,
Yeah.
because like we're used to being judged all the time.
Compared with other Asian kids.
Yeah. Now this is just me paraphrasing. Like I have like apparently my family comes from like an area where there are even more rules than the norm. So like it's like apparently
Even more anal.
yeah. And even like other Asian families aren't as anal as like mine can be sometimes. In like weird like subtle ways, and it's hard to explain all of this to like someone who isn't from like an Asian culture and that like led to like there's like differences in like with like talking to my white friends. I can't talk to certain white friends about certain foods because they'll be like, oh, that's gross. And I don't want to talk. I don't want to like hear that. I don't want to hear that like my favorite food's gross.
Yeah, yeah.
It's annoying, so I decided to just keep a lid on it. Or like they don't understand, or like like they're like they're like, oh yeah, you got good grades because you're Asian. Or like
That must suck. Yeah.
yeah, like pretty much all of like your accomplishments
yeah.
and the skills and stuff is like
Yeah.
just applied to your. It's like if you're like if you're. It's like imagine if you are black.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're playing basketball with your friends, you just school your friends because you like you play basketball in the regular, you play in the community, but then they're like, oh, you won because you're black.
Yeah. They
That
do
sucks.
say stuff.
Yeah, they say stuff like that.
Yeah.
100%. Like I play video games, right? And I play video games with my friends. I just school them all the time.
Oh,
And then they're
okay.
like, "Oh yeah, you won that because you're Asian." At which, like, I'm just like, this has nothing to do with you. You guys just suck at this
Yeah.
game, you know?
I mean, everything that you're good at is because of practice.
Yeah.
Not because of your genes.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, school's like another thing. It's like, yo, like that comes from like the parents like not accepting anything lower than not being happy with anything like lower than a B or something like that, you know?
Yeah, plus you get extra study time. Like, you
Yeah.
won't get to watch TV at night.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you
So I'm
have
like,
to
man,
read a book or
yeah,
whatever.
it's like I don't get to watch TV at night. That's the reason why I'm such a good reader, because I had to entertain myself in a different way.
Yeah. And, I mean, like, I'm not Asian, but my aunt, when she came to Washington State, she was like, oh, no more TV for you guys.
Yeah.
And then it was good for us, especially for Miki, because for one, we didn't have to fight over the remote.
Yeah.
He focused more on computers and how they worked.
Yeah, so you can watch TV on the computers.
Yeah, like he can like pirate things.
Yeah.
Do what is it? Breaking video game or like cheat codes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like, and all that stuff, I feel it motivated him to learn about how to break things.
Yeah.
And how to fix things.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what you do as a software engineer, right?
Yeah, you gotta like, if you want to use your computer, you gotta figure out how to like do the workaround,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
to like get things to work.
Yeah.
Get things to work.
Yeah.
I would download Japanese games onto my onto my computer.
Yeah.
And then figure out how to get them to run locally on the U.S. machines, because like it's expecting a Japanese operating system versus like a Japanese version of Windows rather than an English version of Windows.
Interesting.
So you have to like.
I thought it was all the same.
No, it's not. It's not. There used to be like right now it's more unified. But like back then, like you had to like download a thing. You had to use a built-in tool called Apple Cal, which changed your local settings to be from like English to Japanese. And then like I had to like, I like would convince my friends to play these games with me, and I had to do like a whole like write up on how to get this stuff to work on their computers.
Yeah, it sounds complicated.
It was a little bit complicated, yeah. And then like downloading and like pirating anime back then like that was the only way you could watch anime was if you like pirated it, getting the subs. You learn how to use BitTorrent, you learn how to manage like a media codecs so that like you can have your media players actually play the files. And because like they're encoded with like subtitles, right? So by default, Windows Media Player doesn't accept those subtitles. Like they find that a weird like thing. So you gotta like edit download some packages to like get it to all to work.
Wow.
And people like have these things where they have like an all-in-one package that like has it all working. So you only have to download one thing rather than like 3 or 5 things. You know?
Did you have to pay for?
No.
Oh, they just offered them for free?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Because all these people are like pirating anime because they don't want to pay for it.
Weren't you scared that they would like put some virus in it?
Let's see. I mean, that's when you like also like read up on comments in communities, right? If things are well rated, like if you look at a torrent and it has like no ratings, you kind of have to be more sus about that. But if you see like 1,000, because torrents work in the sense of like the more people are downloading it, the faster download you get.
Oh, okay.
You know, because once you have downloaded it, you do a thing called you're seeding it. So you technically upload at the same time. So the more people who have finished downloading it and are uploading, the faster someone else's download time is going to be.
Interesting.
So if a lot of people are downloading the same thing, that means it's less likely of a chance that like a virus comes out because someone would say something about it. Someone would say something about it and be like, oh, hey, this is like not good.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So created this like community of helping each other out.
Yeah. Like it was like good form to be like, okay, after you download it, like don't just like unseed it. Use some bandwidth to like like seed the episode for a while.
Wow. I
it's
learned
like
a lot.
honor among thieves,
Yeah, okay.
we're all like torrenting anime episodes and stuff like that. So like you gotta help your comrade out.
Is Yu-Gi-Oh considered anime?
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh's anime.
That's the only anime I watched.
Oh yeah, I enjoy that one.
It was kind of weird.
It is weird. The Japanese version is even weirder.
Oh.
Because they had like there's a season 0 that we didn't get in America, where like it was before they figured out like the card game's really popular. So he played a bunch of like other card games and he like killed people.
Oh.
Like they legit, and also the American version was like heavily censored too, to imply like because like there are like they censored out guns, so like there are parts where where people are threatening like suits and like sunglasses and black suits are like threatening like pointing at the characters.
Oh.
But in the original versions, they just have guns in their hands. But like the channel that they were being localized for kids is notorious for removing any sort of like Japanese cultural references or like violent images because they're pretty Christian.
Japanese cultural references.
Yeah. So like in Pokemon, for example, there's a scene where Brock's like, "Let's eat these jelly donuts," and he has like onigiri in his hand.
Okay.
Or like they'll like edit out an onigiri with like a sandwich.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, because like they don't want.
They didn't need to.
Yeah,
that.
They don't need to. That's why people like finding these differences because they're like, oh my god, this is crazy, But like, yeah, there's like another anime where like they replace guns with like these weird squirt guns and stuff like that.
Oh.
A character who was a smoker, he smoked cigars. They got turned into a lollipop.
Oh.
Like they added a little painted a little circle on
Oh.
the thing when he had to light the cigar out.
So he's like going like this, but he's like sucking on a lollipop?
Yeah.
That's a weird way to suck
so
on a
weird.
lollipop.
It's so weird, but yeah, it's like...
Oh, is it the guy who's like tan and like he doesn't open his eyes or whatever? Is he the smoker?
No. I'm talking about a different show.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about a different show. But yeah, it's like it's kind of like one of those things of like, oh yeah, there's a lot of things, and they were like, okay, we're gonna censor out the guns, any mention of murder, in the show they're like, oh, you get sent to the Shadow Realm, which in my opinion is a little bit more horrifying than death, because the Shadow Realm implies like this like dark void of nothingness that like you can't...
Oh, they censored it to be Shadow Realm?
Yeah, they censored it to be Shadow Realm. So what you got really funny things like in one of the games one things he fights in the anime, their legs get locked in and like there's a buzzsaw that comes close to them as like they're closer to losing. And in the original anime, it's just gonna just cut off your legs, right? But in the things like, oh, when you get cut by this, you'll be sent to the Shadow Realm. It's like, it's a buzzsaw. That's 100% a buzzsaw. Or the one where they're like fighting on top of like this building, but they're like bombs placed on the ceilings. On the ceiling, and like the losing side will like the floor will essentially explode underneath them. They'll fall to their deaths. But in the game, it's like, yeah, and then if you lose, the ceiling will explode, and then you'll get sent to a portal to the Shadow Realm. It's like, oh my god, it was really funny. I was like, okay, like Shadow Realm essentially everything gets replaced with like Shadow Realm or something like that.
Yeah.
Which in a sense is you could imagine it as being
I think.
I don't know, like who knows, because the thing is they didn't explain to you what the Shadow Realm is, so you're like thinking like the worst scenario
like
possible. And maybe it's like forever torture.
Yeah.
You know, where like death could be a better recourse. You know.
So you were more scared of.
Yeah, it's like, you know what, Shadow Realm might be a little more horrifying. This is also the same company that like translated in Sailor Moon, there's a lesbian couple, but instead of making them a lesbian couple, they turned them to cousins.
Who kissed?
Who were a little bit too close and slept together in the same bed. And,
so they showed
hugged.
that in Japan.
I mean, in Japan, they were just like they were a lesbian couple. Like lesbian couple is like clear. Like they were said, it's like, oh, we're a couple.
So in Japan, they're okay with kids watching that.
Yeah. It was targeted towards kids, but in America, they're like, oh no, we can't do it. But then they made it worse because now instead of being a lesbian couple, they're now incestual lesbian couple, because it's like they forgot to take out all the imagery of like them being very intimate with each other. You know, like intimacy in a way that like you are of like, you know, like your lovers, right?
Really?
Yeah, they forgot to take that out, but left it. But then they voiced it like, "Oh yeah, we're cousins," and it's like they're awfully close for cousins.
Oh. Okay.
So then instead of being just lesbians, they made it worse, and they ended up being up like.
I guess they could have made them sisters then. It would have been like really like
that
maybe
goes
I
from
should
cousins.
watch it and then
yeah because
okay.
like it's pretty like they made it worse. They made it like they made it like it's kind of like the fun making fun of like America's okay with incest but not okay with same gender things.
It is kind of true though.
It is true. It's like we make that joke and we know that it's true.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, they like there's an episode of Arthur, which is like this kids show, and then like the teacher character in that show, like on a recent episode was like, oh yeah, he got married. He got married and he got married to another guy, which I think was pretty cool. But like the episode got like banned by like because you know of course it's like Southern states and people were like just like making outcries like like because it was like I think it was Alabama. I think it was Alabama. That like banned the episode.
Oh.
The state of Alabama. And then people are like, okay, look, Alabama, you have the highest quota of like incestual relationships. You have
I'm pretty sure
no
they have
moral
like
high ground on this.
The lowest age for girls to be married as well.
Yeah.
They're
like
really weird.
Yeah, it's like you have no moral high ground to judge this. You know?
Yeah. They banned the whole episode because they just inferred that the teacher married same sex.
I mean, it's pretty obvious that like the teacher married same sex. Like they make it very clear in the episode that it's a same sex marriage.
Oh, okay. They showed the wedding.
Yeah, they showed the wedding and stuff.
Oh,
it's like
okay.
very 100% clear. So like the state, they're like, oh no, we can't show our kids this.
Oh, okay. So Arthur has been running for a while.
Yeah.
I used to watch it.
I used to watch Arthur too. I like that show.
Yeah.
There's like that real episode where like he gets really mad at like his little sister and like punches her out because she like threw his like model airplane out the window.
Oh, okay.
Even after like all like he's like saying like you're not allowed to touch this. This is not a toy. Don't go in my room.
I don't care.
I don't care. Like I don't care. Like he has like a sign on the door that says like DW, get out. Don't enter. And she's like, this would stop me if I knew how to read. She's like, this can't stop me. I don't know how to read. And then she goes in and she like plays with it. And then like the parents like they're like Arthur punches her. And then the parents are like, you can't punch her. He's like, you know, they get mad at him for punching her, but like ignore the fact that like he repeatedly went to them too. Throughout the like episode, being like, "Mom, Dad, she is like gonna mess up my model. Can you help me stop her? Like, help me stop her?" They're like, "Oh, it's your sister," you know. Like they're very dismissive about it.
Yeah.
They spend the whole episode being dismissive on his problems.
Yeah.
And then the moment he punches her, they're like, oh, "Gasp! How could this happen?" You know.
It seems like you really remember that episode.
Yeah, because I used to build model kits, so I know the pain of like imagine like I didn't have any younger siblings, but if I imagined like me spending all this time working on the model kit, like a week, like days to a week, then I'm like, and like a little kid just like chucked it out the window and it broke, I'd be mad.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what the heck? Especially if I spent like a long time being very clear, like, yo, you don't do this.
I guess they could have. She was pretty rebellious, though.
Yeah, but like, it's better than doing nothing, right? It'd be better than just being completely dismissive.
Or they could have like moved it to where she can't reach it.
Yeah, or like, you know, like also told her not to do it because she wasn't gonna get in trouble for it. And also like, which is like, well, you obviously didn't build it good enough because it couldn't fly. You know.
And then you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, and then like there's like this. They don't even actually show him punching her. It's really cool, like animation. They just show like. It's like a meme now, but like they just show his fist clenching. And they show her getting knocked back.
Okay.
You know, like you don't see anything because it's a children's show. They they can't show like physical things happening because they don't want to have like the ratings go up. But it's like a really creative way of doing it, where it's this like shot of like fist clenched, you see his angry face, and then she just gets knocked on her butt. You know,
okay.
Like, you know, she just falls back on the butt and she just cries afterwards. You know?
Yeah.
Arthur is a good show. I like Arthur as a show. It was a fun one. I liked it.
I was humming Caillou's.
Caillou's? Yo, people don't like Caillou.
Parents are traumatized.
People don't like Caillou because Caillou is Caillou is he doesn't take any blame for his own actions. You know?
I never saw it like that, but maybe it's because I was a kid.
I think you were a kid. You're like...
So, like, parents, when they see that, they're like, kids shouldn't...
Even, like, other kids can sense that, like, Caillou's a bit of, like, an annoying kid. Like, if they were to see another kid like Caillou and Caillou act like that, other kids would be like, yo, this kid's, like, don't want to hang out with this kid. You know?
Okay.
You know? Even, like, other kids can get a sense of that, you know?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like, yeah, I saw Caillou growing up. I always thought he was a bit of, like, you know...
Huh. Maybe I didn't watch too much.
Yeah.
I like the song.
Yeah.
It's catchy.
Yeah. There are a lot of shows that had catchy songs. Anyways, that's been the episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thanks for
listening. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like this episode, and we will see you later.